Hi everyone, Janey here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to my April front garden tour. Yes, I am splitting my garden tours up into two. When I first moved into this property in August, there was nothing planted, so I didn't have a ton of things to show you all. So I thought I could do it all in one garden tour. I could get it all done in one garden tour. Well, that should show you some progress because I can't fit it all in one tour now. So I am going to be splitting up my monthly garden tours with a front garden tour and a back garden tour. So today's front, stay tuned for tomorrow for my back garden tour. I have a ton of really neat stuff to show you. I finally feel like we're getting somewhere. You know, it's every month it's getting better and better and better. And what I do when I film these garden tours is I look back at the last garden tour to see, what we've done in the past month and what to show you. It's exciting. It's really getting exciting. So I'm going to turn around and get started over here at the Zigzag Planter. Did you all see that butterfly pass by? I think that was a swallowtail. I love it. It's spring. So I wanted to start at my Zigzag Planter because sometimes I feel like I neglect my Zigzag Planter and I haven't been showing it to you all recently, and that is because there have been bulbs planted in it and I've just been kind of waiting for them to bloom, and now they're starting to bloom. It's not 100%, they're not completely full, but they're getting close, and this is called Bloom Factory. It's the Bloom Factory blend from colorblends.com. Basically, it's all these little tiny multiple bloom heads per stem daffodil. There's white, and then they also come in the yellow. Now the yellow is taking a little bit longer to bloom. All the yellows have not kind of opened up yet, but I can see what it's doing, and I can see how beautiful it is. Last year I planted spring loaded. That's what it was. Spring loaded mix. I have to say, I think I like the spring loaded mix a little bit better simply because I feel like it had more interest. The spring loaded mix had a whole bunch of different varieties of daffodils in it, and it was so fun for me to go through and look at each one and look at each different one. These are all kind of the same. They smell incredible, by the way. They smell so good. But so it's just something different. I like trying different things, but I think next year I might either go back to spring loaded. Oh my goodness. These blend mixes, my brain just stops thinking when I try and think of the names of them. So anyway, it looks really pretty. I have my purple fountain grass planted. I did cut these back, and now you can see they're starting to grow. And if I had waited to cut these back, then I would have cut this new growth, and this new growth at the end of the season, it's going to get up to here. So it's important to cut your grasses back in time, at the right time, or else you're going to be cutting all this new baby growth, which is what you don't want. So then I have my 3 white pots. 1, 2, 3, and you can see they're starting to bloom, and I haven't planted anything new in them. These are the Super Beana Pink Cashmere. They are new for this year. If you can get your hands on them, get your hands on them because they are so beautiful. Look at how pretty they are. So a lot of you have asked how many plants I planted in here. This was actually a mixed container. I do have some lantana back here. Can you see these are lantana leaves? And then I did have some super beanas in the front, which I think perished. I don't think those lasted. But I can't remember. I should look back. I want to say it's like 5 of the Super Beana Pink Cashmere. They are in my, I'm pretty sure, last April video. So we all should go back and we should check. But it is looking really pretty, and I can't wait to get more of these because once the daffodils are done, I am going to take the daffodils out and transplant them somewhere else and leave the foliage up so the foliage can get all its energy into the bulb and bloom again next year because daffodils naturalize for us here in Northern California. And then I'm going to be planting a mass planting of the Super Beana Pink Cashmere in the Zigzag Planter. And they are going to go around the purple fountain grass. So I think it will be so pretty. I'm really excited for it. And I just cannot say enough about the Super Beana Pink Cashmere. I love it. So the other thing that I wanted to point out that is in these planters, you've probably noticed, I have this Diachondra Silver Falls. I always say Diachondra. I think it's Dichondra, but My brain is, again, used to pronouncing it a certain way. So these are looking really good as well. You can see that I did have some winter dieback. Like these got too cold. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to cut it off like that. But you can see all the new growth and a little bit of weeds. Let's ignore that. All the new growth here is looking really good. And so these plants are going to be going crazy this season. So I'm going to leave these in here with the Super Bean Pink Cashmere and with the purple fountain grass. And I think it'll be like a beautiful, beautiful combination. Here's another look at the Super Bean Pink Cashmere. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I think I'm going to cut these back and then transplant them into there and just make it even more. I haven't cut these back yet, which I probably should have last fall, but you know, we were moving and all that kind of stuff, and I just didn't even think about it. Look at all the buds. Look at this. It's just, okay, I'll stop talking about this plant. So moving on over to here, this is my new front patio. I had this front patio last garden tour in March, but we hadn't finished it off because we were kind of having a hard time figuring out how to finish it off, figuring out how to cut these concrete pavers because these guys aren't really meant to be cutting. We tried to cut some of them and broke some. We finally got it fit. Yes, this gravel does kind of get all over the place. It needs to be glued down. We have some gravel glue and we've been meaning to do it, but it's been like raining off and on. We've had the most rain this spring. We are going to have the most beautiful flowers this season because we have so much rain and there's so much moisture in the soil, which is very exciting, but then it kind of messes up our plans for all this kind of stuff. So anyway, I will be doing the mulch glue / gravel glue on this to see how it goes. I will film it just to show you all how it works and all that kind of stuff. Right now, I still love it. I think it's still worth it. I would just have to kind of sweep off the concrete pavers because this gravel, which is 3/8 inch decomposed granite, does kind of get a little messy when we walk over it. But I also have a dog that's like crazy, so that's part of the problem. Okay, now on to my espalier, my Star Jasmine espalier. And I just want to know how many of you noticed what's wrong with my espalier. And that is this plant right here. I do not know what happened. I mean, look at this. Perfectly happy, new growth. Oh my goodness. Perfectly happy, lush and new growth. Perfectly happy, lush and new growth. Everything is exactly the same. I have no idea what happened with this plant. So I actually purchased another Star Jasmine to replace this Star Jasmine. And then I noticed this. New growth off the dead plant. So it's not dead. And actually I knew it wasn't dead because how you scratch the stem. I scratched the stem down below there and it's still green. I just don't know what happened to kill all of these leaves. Now, normally I would look at this and I would think, oh, it got too cold, because if Star Jasmine gets too cold, the foliage will stress out, it'll turn brown, and it will actually drop off. So that would be, if I just had one plant or if all my plants did that, I would think that my Star Jasmine had gotten too cold. But look at the one right next to it. Look at the one over on that side. So I literally have no idea what happened, but that's just nature for you. You can't really explain it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe someone poured out a coffee cup or something right there. I have absolutely no idea. So I'm kind of watching it. I might just get annoyed and replace it since I already do have another Star Jasmine stake. But it does have new growth. So I don't know. I'm not totally sure what to do. I'd love your opinion on what to do with that one, just simply because it's growing. It's there. And then I guess I could just lose all the leaves and just kind of start fresh. I don't know. Anyway, so I did plant a bunch of daffodils in front. They are looking good. They are happy. There's something going on with my daffodils this season. I don't know. I think it might be because there's so much rain, but normally our daffodils bloom like February, right? February, maybe early March or something like that. And we have all the blooms and then they're done. They're basically done by the end of March. You can see these are my watch up daffodils. They are just starting to bloom right now. And it is April. And I am not sure why. So I was thinking maybe we've had so much rain that all the energy has been put into foliage growth and not enough energy has been put into bloom growth. I was thinking maybe that's the issue. I honestly have absolutely no idea, but it's all of my daffodils across the board. Even these daffodils over here, the daffodils that I have in my backyard, they're all kind of acting like that, and they're all not growing very well. So I'm still going to leave them up. I'm still going to let them get all their energy. I'm going to leave them where they are and see how they do next year. Okay, so coming over this way, my Lavender Twist redbud. I wish I should have filmed before, like a week ago, because this was like bright purple. It was so beautiful, so pretty. And I'm excited to see its foliage, to see what the foliage looks like. I love redbud foliage. I just think it's one of the most beautiful leaves that you can have on a tree, which is why this tree is kind of like a specimen, like front and center tree for me. So then the decomposed granite pathway is done, at least in the orchard garden, and it looks so good. I am so happy with it. It looks so beautiful. We've tamped it down. It needs to be blown off right now, but that's okay. It looks beautiful, and I cannot wait for the rest of the property to get their own paths, because we're gonna have like pathways everywhere with this, and I just think it looks so pretty, and it makes the property look like a California retreat is kind of how I imagine it. I'm so happy we went with this. This is per recommendation from Michael Glassman, and he was so right. It's exactly what we needed. So decomposed granite, there's a layer of aggregate base underneath the decomposed granite, and then a couple inches of decomposed granite on top of that. On either side, this metal edging is from a company called Edgerite. They come in 4-foot lengths. They're basically they make it really easy to install, to like do DIY install yourself. I got the 8-inch tall metal edging Edgerite, and this one does have the rolled top, which I really appreciate, because I have kids and I have a dog and I garden and I don't want to accidentally step on the metal edging. So I just love it so much. I just think it's so pretty. So my friend Robbie from Visit Our Garden, he also got some of this and installed it in his garden, and he installed straight lines. So you can see his property for straight lines. Most of my property is going to be curved lines like that. So coming over here, I have the Miss Molly butterfly bush. I did cut it back earlier this season, and now it's starting to get a lot of new growth. I have some alliums sticking up, poking through. I actually saw one bud over there, which is really exciting. They are always pretty late to bloom. They bloom mostly like in summer. I would say probably like in June. So we still have some time for those. But speaking of buds, look at this. So these are my iceberg roses. They are so ready. They're almost going to start blooming, and that is going to be so exciting. These are going to get about 4 feet tall and wide. Oh, I just love it. I'm so excited to start seeing some blooms. It's funny, I was just talking to Isaac and Milo, the two guys who work for me and do like random projects for me around the property, and they were complimenting the Zigzag Planter and just saying how beautiful it looked with all the blooms. And I said, just wait. Just wait, because I have a vision. I know what it's going to look like. I don't even have my annuals in yet, and it's going to be so pretty. It's just going to be covered with blooms, and I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. So speaking of blooms, speaking of buds, then speaking of blooms, I have all of my ranunculus right here. And these I pre-sprouted when I was laid up with my foot injury. And I actually pre-sprouted them in seed starting trays, and it worked perfectly. And I ended up coming out and I randomly planted them here around the Banana Cream 2 Shasta daisies, which, look at these plants, you guys. Look at the size of them. I planted these in fall. They are going to be so beautiful once they start blooming. So for right now, the ranunculus look absolutely beautiful, and I'm so happy that I planted them, and it's so nice to see color, and I just love it. So these I'm going to leave in here. I'm going to leave the foliage up, and then leave the corms in here, and they should come again next year, which will be really fun. So I did want to show you all my orange tree. It's looking really good. We had a really great crop, lots and lots of oranges. I'm a little worried about it, and I don't know if I should be worried. basically, so if you look over here, there's like barely any blossoms, barely any blooms. But then right here, look at this. It's loaded. It's absolutely loaded with blooms. And there's bees everywhere enjoying themselves. They are just going crazy. Look at the little bee butt. I just love it. Look at it. There's another one there. They're all over this thing. So anyway, there's lots of blooms here. But then if you look that way, there's like no blooms. And I'm thinking, oh, actually, when I look closer, I see buds. Okay, maybe it's fine. I was just worried that this part wasn't getting any blooms. I thought there was something wrong with the tree, but I don't know. Maybe it's just coming. And then I looked over on this side and there's lots of blooms. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure I'm just being too cautious, too worried about it. You all know how I am about fruit trees. It's just one of those things for me that I get so uncomfortable with, and I'm just not totally sure what I'm doing, honestly. So this past month I repainted the trunks of all my citrus trees, really of all my fruit trees. There was white paint on these trunks, and then I covered it with a browner paint, which as I was painting, I was kind of like, what is this gonna do? It's still a light brown paint. It's not gonna make any difference. Oh my goodness, has it made such a difference. It looks so good. To my eye, when I'm here and I'm walking around, I feel like the brown paint kind of just blends in with the rest of the garden. So it was definitely worth it to get that brown paint. It was special tree trunk brown paint that I got at Van Winden's nursery. It was like $20 for a quart of it. It was incredible. But apparently you can just go to the store and you can get some latex paint and have it tinted this light brown color, and you're totally fine. But I'm so happy with it. Here in California and in hot areas, we do paint the trunks of our trees as like sunscreen. Basically, it's sunscreen to protect the trees, to protect them from getting sunburn, something like that. So it's very, very common practice. And when we moved in here, all the trees in the orchard had white paint on them, and it looks much better painted brown. So then coming in back through here, you can see all my alliums. They're coming along. They're looking really good. I did plant a bunch of calla lilies over here that are looking good. They're still babies, but they're gonna grow. Look at that one. Oh, I just love calla lilies so much. I want these to get big and beautiful and basically take up this whole area. And I think that they will, because I really think this is a good place for them. This right here is my February planting. I planted some lupin right there. This is purple lilac vine, which, it's looking fine. It's past its peak, so that's fine. It's supposed to peak in February. But these guys, they are still looking beautiful. These are my hellebores, and I planted them in February. So basically every month this year, I'm going to plant a grouping of plants that will be blooming specifically for that month, so that when I come through next year and I look at my garden each month, I will have at least one area that's blooming beautifully. At least that's my plan. So for February, I picked lupin, purple lilac vine, and hellebores, and I'll show you my March planting. It's on the other side of the property right now. But man, these hellebores are they are just so beautiful. I kind of wish I planted them closer to the pathway so I could see them closer, but that's okay. They needed a little bit more shade. This right here, this is my Great Gatsby oak leaf hydrangea. It's starting to leaf out right now. It's looking really good. This guy's gonna get big, like really like 8 feet tall. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited for it to go. It's obviously not gonna get that big this season, but it's looking really, really pretty. So here's another new plant. This is my artichoke, and I'm not growing it for artichokes. I'm growing it really for the structure and the foliage, because I just think it is so pretty and it just looks so good. I'm gonna get some lavender and dot some lavender around. So it's gonna be artichokes and lavender, and it's just gonna be pretty. But I am growing some cardoons, which is advice that I got from Raphael from Park Winters, a garden that's very close to me. He says, so cardoons and artichokes look very, very similar. Their foliage looks similar. Even their blooms look similar. but squirrels, gophers, rodents, they don't like cardoons and they do like artichokes. So I don't think I have any of that kind of pressure. I know I have squirrels, but they haven't really bothered any of my plants yet. But I'm gonna plant both of them. I'm gonna plant the artichoke, and then I'm also gonna plant the cardoons once they're ready to be planted out. And then I'm just gonna see how they do in this area. Behind here, I have more alliums coming. I gotta show y'all my pomegranate tree. What? It leafed out like in a day. It looks beautiful. I keep going back and forth whether I like this tree or not, but this morning I looked outside and looked at this tree and went, oh, that's really pretty. So if you all have heard me for the past couple months, I've been debating taking this tree out, which is, yeah, I haven't decided yet. So I think the reason why I like it is because I trimmed it up so it looks more like a tree, not a bush. And you can see it's starting to get little growth, little suckers down there. So I'm gonna have to come in here and I'm gonna have to prune it out. But I'm liking it. I'm glad I didn't take it out because I'm kind of liking it. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna still take it out, but we'll see. It's starting to get kind of windy. Hopefully you all can hear me. I'll try and hurry up. Okay, then coming over here to my orange and purple garden. This is the first garden that I had planted in the orchard, and I love it. I just think it's so pretty. It still needs some work. I still got to add some things to it, but you can kind of see where we're going. So I have these orange blaze Kniphofia that I just am obsessed with. I love them. I love them so much. I need more Kniphofia in my life in different colors. It's just so perfect. I mean, they've been blooming since January. They're just amazing plants. Then I have Cat's Pajamas Catmint underneath it in front of there. I have Russian sage behind there that's just starting to grow. I have a random trowel that was left there. I don't just go with it. But I wanted to show you all this volunteer, this random plant here. So this plant, I didn't plant it. It just popped up back here, and I really liked it. I thought it was beautiful, and I didn't know what it was. We were going back and forth what it was, and I think I said in the last garden tour that it was Chasmanthe or cobra lily, and a lot of you said that looks like crocosmia instead, right? And it's a beautiful plant. I actually look at this clip right here of I was standing here looking at it, and a hummingbird came up right in front of me and started enjoying a little snack. So I was going back and forth trying to decide whether it was a Chasmanthe or a crocosmia, and I was researching online. And I found a Master Gardener's article that was literally Chasmanthe versus crocosmia. And basically it said, if it's blooming at this time, it's Chasmanthe. If it's blooming in August, late summer, early fall, it's crocosmia. And in this area, Chasmanthe is very, very common. So it looks very similar to crocosmia. You know, a lot of you that said that looks like crocosmia, you are absolutely right. But it is actually cobra lily or Chasmanthe because it is blooming at this time of the year. So it's really pretty. This was here when I moved in. I'm going to keep it. I do know that it spreads quite a bit, so I might just have to kind of watch it and make sure it doesn't keep creeping its way out this way. But it's beautiful, and the hummingbirds love it, and I'm keeping it. And you can see my fig tree over there that is starting to leaf out, which is so wonderful. And I actually have baby figs on it. Oh, it's so exciting. This fig tree, this is incredible. This is like the most established fig tree. It's so beautiful. I did not prune it this year. I should have pruned it. You get more fruit set if you prune it. But I couldn't get on a ladder because I had a boot on and, all that kind of stuff. But look at it. It looks really good. And then over here, I have the lime tree, which isn't looking as good, but I will watch it. There's some new growth and there's some new blooms, new buds, all that kind of stuff. So we'll watch it. Okay, this little garden area was planted actually right when I injured myself. They're all perennials, and I promptly kind of forgot about this garden bed after I planted it. So seeing it start to come up is really exciting. So I have Helen von Stein lambs here that are starting to grow, and it's just looking so fresh, so beautiful. I have a couple back in black sedum right there. And then I have the ornamental allium serendipity right there. And I've told you all this before. Serendipity, we're kind of testing it. I'm kind of testing it with Walter's Gardens because it says that it's only good or only hardy up to zone 8, but I think it's going to do well here in California, zone 9B. So we'll see how it does. We will see how it blooms this season. But the foliage is looking wonderful. So then over here, completely forgot I had planted these plants, but they started popping up. This is my Boom Chocolata hardy geranium or crane's bill. And this is another one that should only be good or hardy until zone 8. I am zone 9B, but so far they're looking good. And now we just have to wait and see if they bloom. And then here's my brilliant pink iceberg rose ready to go. Oh, it's looking so good. I did want to show you all my, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I just saw another Boom Chocolata. I need to mark all these plants. Okay, anyway, I wanted to show you all my Matilaha poppies. Look at this one. Look at how good it looks. It is growing like crazy. Look at this stalk or stem, whatever you say right here. It is a happy, happy camper. Then look at this one. I don't know. It's kind of like the Star Jasmine, over the Star Jasmine espalier. Literally, these plants get the same treatment. They're right next to each other, and this one is struggling. It's alive. I'm going to leave it, but it is definitely not happy. And this one, I mean, yeah, that is a happy, happy plant right there. So we will see how they do. I hope this one lives. You know, I might have to keep planting these just to make sure they take. Matilaha poppies are notorious for being really hard to get established, but once you get them established, whew, they're good. They're absolutely fine. So this one's going to be great. This one, we will see. I'll keep you all updated. This right here, this is my seven suns tree bush, whatever you want to call it. I'm so excited about it. This plant has been on my wish list for so long. Let me show you pictures of what it does all season long. It starts off in the spring with this beautiful foliage. This is going to get about 10 feet tall and 10 feet wide. But then come late summer, we get these white blooms, and there's 7 blooms, seven buds. I don't know, 7 flowers on each bloom. And that's why it's called Seven Suns tree, or seven sunflower. And then after you're done with those white blooms, the white blooms fall off and you're left with the bract or sepal, which is a rosy pink color. So you basically have 2 separate blooms on this plant. So you enjoy that for a very long time in the late summer, early fall, when everything else is starting to wrap up and finish, right? And then this guy completely shines. Then it's deciduous and it loses all its leaves, and you get to enjoy this beautiful peeling bark, just like crepe myrtle trees. So it is just, I'm so excited to have it. I'm so happy to have it. And you can get it from Spring Meadow, Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs. And it's just, oh, I'm just so thankful to have this. This is like a plant geek tree, which is really fun. It's fun to have that. Okay, then I have my willow tree over here. This is Robbie the Willow. It is staked to within an inch of its life at this point. You can see that I have even staked the branches over here, and that is just because I have to train it so that it's coming all in different areas. It was all leaning off to one side, and so the whole tree was kind of leaning over. So I'm just trying to train it in the right way. I will be taking all of these straps off in about 6 months, and then we'll see how it does. Okay, the wind's getting pretty bad. I'm sorry. I do want to show you all the center island. So just this past month, I had the bright idea that I wanted to use the center island this season. And my plan was, we have so much going on. We have so much of this property that we're planting up. I was just going to leave the center island and not do anything with it. I was just going to completely leave it. Well, I can't do that. It's just not in me. So I had this idea. I have all these extra seeds, like old seeds, right? But we already had drip irrigation to it. It's completely blank. I'm going to sow my seeds and then I'm going to plant up a flower field in the center island here. It's just going to be very, very casual, very like no really rhyme or reason to it. I am going to plan on leaving like a pathway so I can walk through and maybe do an arch or something that I can grow some Tithonia or Mexican sunflower on. And I'm really excited about it now that we've planned it. But I don't want to overwhelm myself with this project because it is kind of like on the back burner, but I might as well do it because I have all the old seeds and we had the drip irrigation. So yeah, Jason laid all this drip irrigation. It's spaced 3 feet or 4 feet, I think 3 feet. And then we're going to tap into it and then we're going to plant out all the seedlings. And I have a ton of seeds sown now and they're under grow lights and they're growing and they're happy, and I'll harden them off and I'll plant them out and this will be gorgeous. I'm very excited. Okay, then finishing off with the long border over here. This is what I'm calling my long border. It's kind of those things, you just start calling certain areas names and sometimes they just stick. So the long border has just kind of stuck for this area. It's on the north side. So this is a north facing fence. So really close to the fence, has pretty good shade, especially during the winter, but a little further away, it's more full sun. From about right here over is really, really, really bad soil. Really rocky. I think that they had like done the driveway or something like that and then just tossed all the extra debris over here. So I'm just going to be adding compost every year from now on. Well, I decided to plant gladiolas over there because gladiolas are like weeds for us here. And I thought, well, if anything can survive, it's a gladiola there. So I planted about a month ago, I planted about 15 gladiolas, just a beautiful pink mix. And you can see every single one of them came up. So then I planted about 30 more about a week ago. And then in 2 weeks, I'll plant more. 3 weeks after that, I'll plant more, and you'll see I'll just kind of keep going. So hopefully I'll have a nice, long, beautiful show of gladiola blooms up here in this area that I don't think anything else is going to be really happy. Ultimately, I just told you all this. Ultimately, I do want to move the propane tank over there, but it's just not in the budget right now, so we're not worrying about that. Right here is my crepe myrtle. This is my pink velour crepe myrtle. It gets about 8 to 10 feet tall and has these beautiful magenta pink blooms. I'm so excited about it. So funny. There are dog toys absolutely everywhere on my property. I just walk around and I'm like, oh, well, there's tennis balls. Oh, well, there's a basketball. Yes, the basketball is a dog toy. So beautiful pink blooms. I love the crepe myrtle. Beautiful orange tennis balls. I have a Monterey cypress tree that's gorgeous. I just love the color. I can see the color from the house. It's bright, it's cheerful, it's beautiful. I'm just really happy with it right there. I did want to show you all the apricot tree. This was here when we moved in. So I don't know what variety of apricot it is. Hopefully once they're fully ripe, I'll be able to get a better idea. But I just wanted to show you. Look at how beautiful. So it's setting fruit, which is really exciting. I wanted to tell you all. So my mother-in-law, Jenna, she passed away last year. And, but when I see apricots, I always think of her, which makes me really excited about this apricot tree. And they used to have a property on a lake. It was like the lake house, and they had apricot trees there. And so when the apricots were ready, we would harvest them, and then she would make the most delicious dessert I've ever had in my entire life. She called it an apricot dump cake. And basically what she would do is we would cut up the apricots, she'd put it in a pan, she'd take a box of white cake mix, or maybe it was yellow cake mix, and she'd pour it all over the apricots. And then she would take sticks of butter, yes, melt the butter, just, it's like 3 sticks, I don't know how much it was, and she would pour it over the cake mix and the apricots, and she would bake it, and it was the most delicious dessert ever. It was so delicious, and I loved her for it. So whenever I see apricots, I think of Jenna. So yes, I'm very excited about this, and I can't wait to get some apricots and make an apricot dump cake. Okay, and then right next to the apricot tree, this is my March blooming garden, just like we had the February blooming garden over here. This is for the next month. I am completely blanking on all the names of these. I should have remembered them. So we have an azalea back there. I'll put the name on the screen right now. It's kind of done blooming, but that's okay. It's supposed to be done because it's April now. We have some osteospermum, or African daisies. We have some Kramer's red heather, and then I do have some creeping jenny that's going to hopefully cover this whole area. So the goal is for this garden bed to be blooming in March. So next March garden tour, I'll be able to show you all this and say, look at what's blooming. How exciting. So that's the goal. And then here I have my purple hopseed tree / bush. You can see that it's starting to get its new foliage, its green foliage, and it is starting to get a lot of buds on there. So we're going to see some really pretty pink papery blooms once it does bloom. So I'm excited to see that. This tree, it doesn't really excite me that much. Like, it's not much to look at, honestly, but it's just that it's the type of thing that you need different foliage colors in your garden so that other things can pop. Like, I needed this purple hopseed so that the Wichita blue juniper can pop and the lemon Monterey cypress can pop. Like, I needed this color in the garden. So, you know, it's like, if I sound like I'm not too excited about this, it's because I'm not really, but I know that it's necessary. It's, you know, it's something that you need. One thing that I am really excited about is this magnolia. This is a Magnolia stellata. It's done blooming, but you can see how beautiful the foliage is. It's obviously really, really happy here. It is called Royal Star, and it is, it's just going to be so gorgeous. And again, so beautiful next to the purple hopseed. You know, you need that difference there. All right, well, I think that's going to be it. You see what I mean? This was just the front yard, and I had so much to show you and so much to talk about, and I even skipped over a lot of plants that I wanted to talk about, but just for time's sake, I'm sorry about the wind, but look at this rain cloud that is coming in. I mean, I knew it was supposed to rain again, but like, that's kind of ominous. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed this. This is really, really fun. It's getting to that point in the season where, you know, it's just that excitement and everything's going to start growing and it's going to be amazing. And then we're going to get to enjoy all the blooms. Let me know if you had any ideas about this guy right here. I have Michael Glassman coming over right now. We're going to record a couple podcasts. Yes, that's the other new announcement. I do have a Dig Plant Water Repeat podcast. It's called Dig Plant Water Repeat. I'll put the link in the description down below. You can get it on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. So he is going to be my first guest, and we're going to record a couple shows today, but I'm going to ask him what to do about this because, I mean, it's just so frustrating. It's okay. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. Stay tuned tomorrow for the back garden tour. I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.